treating your water that you're about to brew with may not be necessary. If you're brewing from malt extract or from a kit, then I personally wouldn't bother to treat your water. Some people like to boil their water first or add a campden tablet to get rid of the chlorine in it. Personally, I've never bothered. Brewing beer from grain and carrying out a mash where you're concerned about the pH, it probably is advisable to consider some form of water treatment. I take a very simple approach. I don't use a water treatment calculator. I don't bother looking at the water report from my water board. And in fact, if you do, it's a question of how up to date that report is. If you really want to go down that road, you might be better buying a kit to test your own water, as it were. These you can get from suppliers for aquariums, where you'll want to test the water there. So for me, very simply, the water here in Cheshire is soft water, so I don't need to reduce the amount of carbonate in it. When I'm making a lager, I will either put no treatment in it at all, or I may use some lactic acid to bring the pH down, particularly if it's a very pale lager. If I'm making a bitter, I will add, for every 5 gallons of brewing liquid, I will add half a teaspoon of Epsom salts, that's magnesium sulfate. Careful not to add too much. It is the origin of the phrase going through like a dose of salts. It historically is used for constipation. And also I add a teaspoon of gypsum, which is calcium sulfate. These apparently also help to lower the pH of the mash. If I'm brewing a darker beer, like a stout or porter, the dark grains actually lower the pH themselves, so I don't add those 2 salts to it. If I'm making a stout, excuse me, I will actually add some chalk, the chalk which is absent from my water. It's very, very insoluble, so I won't add it to the water first. I'll actually just stir that in to the mash. I'll usually add, again, 1 teaspoon of this for every 5 gallons of brewing liquor. Now, if I were in a hard water area, that's where your water's got a significant amount of carbonate in it, you'll know this because you'll get lime scale on your taps and in your kettle, then you may well, unless you are brewing a stout, you may well want to reduce the carbonate levels. You can buy a proprietary product in my shop and elsewhere called CRS, Carbonate Reducing Solution. Now this is an acid, so I would advise care and caution with that. You don't want that being splashed on your skin or in your eyes. You can also just boil the water for about half an hour, and the chalk will precipitate out, and then you can draw the water off the top and use that. And essentially that's excuse me, that's the only treatment that I would recommend for brewing. Many other people have got their own opinions and so forth, but that's what I do, and I hope that's helpful.